Hello everyone, it's John, and today I'm going to show you my For Against Darkness video and what I've done with it in relations to Fantasy Grounds. And what I've done is that I've imported the base game of For Against Darkness into the Fantasy Grounds engine. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Fantasy Grounds is primarily for a role-playing game engine. So most people who are aware of it is mainly for Dungeons and Dragons, though it's also for Call of Cthulhu and a few other role-playing engines as well. And it's mainly for people who want to enjoy role-playing. However, what I found is that it will work very well for me for Against Darkness. Now, before I go much further, please do not ask me to share this because this is copyright material, because this contains essentially everything from the book. So what I have done is that this is all of the material. So what will happen here is, as you can see, I've got all the introduction, how the game plays, all the dice codes. So that's all the information with how, I'll just lock that up. As you can see, it's still, I think, in some cases a work in progress, but I think I've finished it at this stage. So that's talks about the party. So once again, if you're familiar with the game, it shows you creating a party. Then we have the careers and the equipment. So if we have a look at the warrior, it will show you the warrior, the traits, the armor, and once again, you will have your character sheets beside you. And for instance, if I pull up my images and maps, we will have down here, there will be the player sheet. So you can, okay, I'm having a bit of trouble moving things around. So you can print that out. I intend later on to have the actual characters as a pop down so that you'll be able to keep track of the characters and the monsters within the game itself within this electronic format. So you can play it by yourself on Fantasy Grounds solo. And but anyway, you'll obviously be able to print this out and from this particular piece of information. So there'll be the, there's the warrior, there's all the information with regards to the elf. So you'll have that. Then here's all the starting equipment. Once again, this is all exactly the same information that is in the starting book. So there's nothing new. I've added nothing from anything else. So this is verbatim. So that's all that explained. Then we go into, again, this shows you how to attack the monsters. Gives exactly as per the book. So it's all there, tells you everything. So again, all it is there for completeness for me. So we have how to level up, shows you all the spells. So all the spells are there. And scrolls, there's the random spell scroll. Now I do apologize if in the background you're picking up, I've got construction work happening in the background. So I do apologize if that's being picked up in the audio. I've also got rain, so that may appear as well. And it randomly rolls. So over here on the left, when we roll, it will come up and it says the random spell and it'll say lightning bolt for the random spell for the scroll. So it does all the rolling for me as well. So we have the encounters. So all the encounters tells you what happens as again per the book. So that's all there. Tells you everything again as per the book. So that's their traps. Again the traps. Again the table. Table's built in. So you can roll and it'll come off. We roll, it'll say 2 poison gas, and it'll tell you it's a level 3, attacks all characters. Again, you will note that once again it's paper and pen, paper and yep. So you'll know what you're doing. This is purely to help you, keeps everything nice and simple. You're not essentially flipping through multiple pages. This is all here on the screen for you. Makes it nice and easy to manipulate. So you've got the locked doors, tells you how to deal with that. Once again, as per the book. Save versus, you've got things to remember, the RPG Lite, the frequently asked questions. Now, what I've done is that you've got what I call now is the dungeon, which is the main part. So it will tell you the entrance room. So the entrance room, you can roll through it. And what will happen is that we'll roll a dice and it'll say entrance room 3. So you'll click down there and bang, there you go. There's entrance room 3, and you'll draw that on your map grid. And so you draw it on your map grid, all well and good. So you've got your 3 entrances. So your random entrance is done. You've then got, and you can do this either way depending how you want to do it. You can either roll yourself your 2 die 6, or you can roll a die 6 and then choose one of these rooms, or you can roll from the master table up here. And the master table here will be, we can pull this over, we can roll, and it'll roll, as you can see over here, it'll roll 2 dice, and we get a roll of 4 and a roll of 1, and it'll say it's room 4-1. And we go click, and there's room 4-1, and we'll put room 4-1 onto one of those 3 entryways that we had available. So you'll have that down on your map that you've already drawn. So we can then click and draw that out, and then we go, well, we'll roll again on the master chart and we'll see what happens. So 2 dice come up again, and this time we get a 2-5, and it's room 2-5, and it gives us, we don't have to look any further, and there's room 2-5. And you'll continue to do this all the way through as you do. However, that just shows you how the rooms are done from this particular section. So that explains the rooms. It tells you the information with regards to the rooms. Then you've got within there all the information about the room's contents, the special rooms, the weird monsters, the epic quests, the business about, once again, exactly as per the book. So if you're new and you're reading through this, I've included it again because it's there purely for my information and just for completeness. So that's all there, looking, I think, pretty spiffy. Explains all about the final boss, time limits and things like that. Again, as per the book. But if you're sitting down and if I want to play the game, I will be mainly using this last one, which is this here, which is the be all and end all, I guess, of all charts. So I will essentially pull this, pardon me, all the way down. It's a bit difficult. As you can see, sadly, the quality of the print's not the best. But what happens is that I pinned in here all the tables. So we have here, following our guide, we go, here's our entrance room. So we start, and there we go, pops up the entrance table. We can roll, and we roll a dice. I get a 1. So we roll, and there's our entrance table that we start at. So we're off and running. We've finished that. We then come to our first room. We roll 2 dice. Oh, sorry, we roll for the, so we'll roll, put the room off to the side because we'll be rolling this constantly. So we roll, it'll roll 2 dice, and I've got a room 35. And there we go, there's room 35. And for some reason, I've just noticed it's rolling the centile now instead of the 2 dice 6, which it was rolling from the other table. So that's interesting. Okay, so I've noticed a little bug that seems to have crept in now. But anyway, that's what will happen there. So we've got room 35 as the first one that crops off. So again, you'll do that. Then we roll our 2 die 6 to see what the room contains. So we'll roll here, and we get our 2 die 6, and our 2 die 6 will say we roll on the vermin table. So I can pop this off here for the room contents. We might just pop that off because that'll be a table that will roll almost as frequently as the random dungeon generator. So we might just pop that up the top here as well. So we'll pop that over there. And we now have, what did we get? Vermin table. So if we had a look, we rolled a 6. So we come down here to 6, and it was a, I believe it was a room. So we go here to the vermin table, we'll roll here, and we had a 6. So we're going to be fighting skeletal rats. So we fight our rats, we say we succeed, the rats are done, we go see some treasure. The treasure I've got to still finalize on because there can be negatives, but I've got to work out how to factor in minuses into the dice rolls. But in this case, we rolled a 3, which is a scroll with a random spell. So we get a scroll, which is good, which means then that we go to the table, which is back here where the spells were. So we go back to spells, look for scrolls, where the scrolls were the random scrolls, click on that, and we just roll, and we find that our random scroll was escape. And we then just constantly work through our dungeon until we hit the boss, and hey presto. So as I said, this is still, I guess, my work in progress, and I think I'm quite happy with it. Obviously, I've still got some things to fix up. I'm quite sure that there's people within the 4 Against Darkness community that are far more gifted at doing things than I am, and I'm quite sure they'll point out things that I've done wrong. Quite sure they will, and I'm not going to be upset if they do. I've done this purely for my own pleasure, and I just thought that I'd share. It is, for me, I think, a lot of entertainment, certainly for the for some of the scenarios that have been generated, the dungeons where there's no actual dungeon in itself, and it's all pre-plotted, this Fantasy Grounds, I think, will work perfectly. And as I said, I've just got to work out how to set up creating and plotting characters so that the combat tracker and that will work, and I think this will work very, very nicely. Anyway, look, thank you for your time, and hopefully the background noise hasn't infiltrated too badly onto this recording. So till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.